The sun rose slow on a broken town. Factories closed, machines shut down. Promises made, but none were kept. Dreams turned to dust while the people wept. 90 days of fleeting chance, a lifeline lost in a reckless dance. The clock ran out, now it's too late. Unemployment's the cruelest fate. The tariffs came, they hit like a storm. Families braced to keep their homes warm. A pause was given, a moment to act, but the time was wasted, that's a hard fact. 90 days of fleeting chance, a lifeline lost in a reckless dance. The clock ran out, now it's too late. Unemployment's the cruelest fate. Leaders spoke with words so grand, but their hollow deeds we can't withstand. The people begged, the people cried. Now hope's a stranger on this side. Misery's knocking, poverty's near, a future clouded by doubt and fear. If only they'd fought to make things right, we wouldn't be lost in this endless night.
Sunsets and skies so blue, mountains whisper stories of dreams so true. From oceans roaring wild to valleys deep, a heartbeat of a nation that will not sleep. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. The people sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, but we hold the truth in what we believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall, for the power is the people's above it all. Save South Africa, rise above the storm. Hands together strong, a new world is born. Beauty in our hearts, let it light the way. Evil cannot reign when we seize the day. People sing louder than shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder then shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The people sing louder than the shadows can scream. Together we're stronger than the wicked scheme. The soil holds our history, roots run so long. A melody of freedom, we're singing strong. They may curse the land with lies they weave, then weave. But we hold the truth in what we believe, believe. Their crowns may crumble, their thrones may fall. For the power is the people above it all. We know.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
So before we get started here, I see something in the comments very quickly from Ludwig saying, I'm sure there's 600,000 to 1 million who would appreciate the U.S. gift of relocation. Can we handle that? Dude, we've got 30 million criminal alien invaders floating around this country, 1.3 million of whom have already self-deported, and another couple 100,000 have been removed. So close to approaching 1.5 million have been removed. At least another 28 million or 27.5 million who are still here. Not to mention the fact that each year we naturalize 1 million foreigners. I think we can handle the space for a few legitimate refugees from South Africa. Don't lose any sleep over that. The question is that. The question is how many people they put on the program, how quickly can it unfold? That's the real question, not can the U.S. absorb them. We absorbed 160,000 Afghans, whether we wanted them or not, a couple years ago under corrupt Joe Biden, so don't forget that. Lovely weather today here on the East Coast of the United States, 75 degrees. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is Sunday, August 3rd, 2025. Lots of events coming up here very, very soon. So, oh boy, we got the refugee chat coming up later today. I just published a video. Let's see if it's up. Is it up? With Earl Langton, yes. My interview with Earl Langton down there in Alabama. Last week, and so I've just published that video finally. It's taken off, so a couple minutes ago. Hopefully people will find it. I know a lot of you people here are watching this program. You can watch it after the fact. It's about a 16-minute conversation with Earl. We did the interview about baseball last week. Didn't do so well. Hopefully this will do a little bit better, and we'll get into that. So let's see. We've got a lot of events coming up. The Springboks test matches start with the Rugby Championship, just a matter of days away. A little bit later this month, they'll be playing. And that's coming up soon. And the Wallabies feeling their oats after defeating the British and Irish Lions yesterday. So we'll see how that goes. And then also the Women's Rugby World Cup is upcoming in England. And then I've got events coming on late September, some other events in October. For those who missed it yesterday, did an impromptu live broadcast with Morgan Alsop from Operation Pet Lift. She's based in Wyoming. That was yesterday. We had that conversation. Wasn't announced. That way the trolls can stay elsewhere. I did receive a couple messages from people who were upset with the broadcast. One lady said that that the way that Miss Nicole was characterized was unfair. I don't know that that's true. All I know is that that lady slandered me, so she's got some splaining to do. And the woman I talked to last night suggested I have her on the program. Well, I will offer her an opportunity to come on the program to talk about her views and her thoughts about all this conversation about what's going on with Operation Pet Lift. But I would like an answer from her why she slandered me in the first place on her WhatsApp groups. Anyway, folks, so we did that. That's available. If you have questions about Operation Pet Lift, I understand there was a whole bunch of nonsense that unfolded on Friday or Thursday and Friday related to Operation Pet Lift. And therefore, in a very short notice broadcast, after speaking to Marco and to Morgan yesterday, I agreed to do a live stream last night. We did a live stream, and hopefully that clarifies some things for folks. All right? There are a lot of people doing a lot of things that are for others' benefit, and many people don't appreciate it. They simply throw stones at them. So anyway, that's out there. You can check that out. Then also the interview with Earl, that's up as well. Feel free to check that out. Plus my recent videos talking about the impact of tariffs on South Africa, which aren't doing very well. It is a very clear effort here for the content to be hidden. A lot of people saying they're not getting notifications. That's pretty obvious. We finally eclipsed 110,000 subscribers. It's been 12 days since we hit 109. 12 days ago, 1,000 additional subscribers. For a channel this size, that's kind of slow, but that's what's going on. So people are being emotional about pets. Yeah, that never happens. Of course, light rain happens all the time. So we do have the Refugee Chat coming up at 8 p.m. South Africa time. That is in less than 2 hours. So this broadcast will end. Then you'll be directed to that one. And we'll get into the conversation where you can ask your questions. So if you've got refugee questions, I would politely ask you to please hold them until we get to that broadcast, which is 8 p.m. South African time. It's not too much to ask. Be considerate of others. That will be on 8 p.m. Of course, the reason for that is to leave a break in between here because I know some people want to go watch Ronaldo. So we drop off and let them do that. Also gives me a chance to stretch my legs. Yeah, thank you, Pickle, for 110,000. We're finally there. If it was 1 million, we'd really be stoked, but we're not. We're a long way from that. Charlene says, good evening. Just came back from the hospital. My father-in-law isn't looking so good. I'm sorry to hear that, Charlene. Yeah, Marcel said he's been subscribed and a paying member for a few months now, and he's gotten maybe 2 notifications. Yep. Marcel, make sure you go back and you've selected all notifications because you got to be careful. When you subscribe, you're not automatically subscribed to everything. People don't always realize that. You may, but not everybody does. You have to go back and subscribe, select all, and usually that helps. All right. Thank you all very much. So if you're only getting a couple, that would mean that it's probably not all notifications because defaulted, that's what it does. Anyway, thank you for that, folks. We used to emphasize that point a lot, and we had a much higher percentage. We had 30% people who selected all notifications back when I had a smaller channel, and that's pretty darn good. Most channels get 10% or less, get all notifications, but we dropped down around the 16% now. Werner Durant just gave a super chat. Thank you for that, Werner. Super sticker there of 70 Rand. Thank you for that. So kind of you to do. Is the alert thing on? Let me see. The alert button is on. Come on. All right. Where is my alert button at? Okay, there it is. It's on. I don't see it on the screen. Yeah, so the software's not working properly. 684 people here right now, but just 262 likes. Just 264 likes. What's up with that, man? 262, actually. I'm overcounted.
That was easy.
Van va isie Darlene? Okay, good question being asked there. Where is Darlene Fauri at? Well, folks, so there you have it. I've been trying to help the press talk to some of the refugees. It's up to them entirely. Louis Boyson's with 140 Rand super sticker. And Golden just gave 5 memberships, forcing me to turn the alert box off for a few minutes. Subscribe to all, but earlier on the notifications was grayed out and I could not click it. Wow, that's some serious subterfuge against the channel. I have to go in every day and go to the upcoming and select notify me. Already on notify, but I still don't get it. I'm also paying a member. Paying member has nothing to do with it. I have no control of it, guys. I don't control that setting. You should, if you're a subscriber to this channel and you select all notifications and your device, your mobile phone, for instance, allows that app, the YouTube app, to accept notifications, you should receive every notification. That's what's supposed to happen. I have no control over that whatsoever. Just like when it comes to awarding memberships. The memberships are just awarded. She gave 5. When the memberships are awarded, I have no control over that, nor does the person donating the money. They can't go, oh, I want to give it to George. I want to give it to Madeline. You can't do that. YouTube does it. They just pick at random, is what it appears to be. So we have no control over it. Fawn says Rugby was what a crap show. Well, not in the end. The Griquas saved the weekend for me, but boy, they didn't deserve that win. Ugly game, but a fun game to watch. A fun game to watch. Favorite second team South Africa, the Griquas and the Bulls. There you go. How am I doing, says Niki's voice box. Well, I'm doing all right. Got a lot going on, and I really need to get on the stick here. I'm being distracted by other things. So my mailbox, my Yahoo mailbox, which has never been given a limit, now because Verizon owns it, says you get a 20 gigabyte limit. I didn't know that. So I had 419,000 unread email messages. You guys think I'm making this stuff up about how many messages I get? 419,000 unread messages, plus the dozens of file folders I've had for the past almost 30 years. I've had this account since 1990. Well, it's 30 years, 95, 95, 6. It was a GeoCities account. Then it became a Yahoo account when they bought it. And now it's owned by Verizon, but still with the Yahoo address. And I still have the GeoCities account. So I have 419,000 unread email messages. A couple days ago. Now I'm down to 380-some thousand. I've taken 35,000 emails out. But amongst those 35,000 emails, I've found at least 300 or 400 unsolicited messages from South Africans reaching out to me with questions about refugee stuff. I never gave that email address out. I told people not to use my personal email address because you won't be seen. How do you expect to stand out of 35,000 email messages? And I'm only back to the beginning of March now, folks. Only back to the beginning of March. and I'm down to 381,000. Well, I just said YouTube notifications. Didn't I say that? Yep. Okay. So exactly, Dave Wilson. That's one email account. One email account. I have multiple email accounts. I have accounts with a bunch of different services, and I try to check them all, but it is very time consuming. So I was able to get rid of 35,000. That takes hours of time to go through those messages, and I have a bunch of them that I've saved. I haven't even gone back and read. So for the people who are upset because I don't answer you, I don't know you, and you're sending me stuff, and it's buried amongst thousands of messages because you don't listen to me. You don't listen. I said, do not send email to other accounts. Only send it to the one in this account. And most people, I'd say 70% of the people are getting responses from me in the email tied to this account, the All About Africa 2021. Love your jersey. Years ago, before the rugby union was like it is now, the rugby club used to be called Hoffy Park. My dad played for them. I didn't know that, Haley Seneca. That's interesting. Operation Petlift is not registered as an NPO yet. They list an NPO number on the website, but that's a filing number, not an NPO number. You can check on the IRS website. Gerard Lone Wolf, I'm very familiar with how that works because I have to go through that with the Veterans Organization. Yeah, well, that's the fact that what you're pointing out there. So what's your point? What's your point? I'm curious. What's your point? When you file with the IRS, you've submitted it. It's up to them when they get around. So that's your role. That's what you have to do. They've gone through the steps they have to go through. YouTube should assign free memberships to people who are currently in. Well, that is what it is like, Rand. These are people who are in chat. They're not just random people. They're not just people subscribed. They're people who are in the chat. Everybody gets one as somebody that's present. So that answers what you're saying there. Well, emailed yesterday's ANC release to Jimmy, Mike Gantz, Tim Pool, Charlie Kirk. Well, Alan Gill seems to know everybody, but he's not getting me on any of their shows. Which video came up first, Erica? See, that doesn't help me. That video came up first. Please tell me which video. Okay. People must start to listen to what you're saying. Well, it would be nice, Nikki. They wouldn't be swindled. All those people from that Thundermeva clown who stole their money. I warned people about that sort of thing, and they didn't listen. They didn't listen. They didn't listen. They didn't listen. And some people got swindled. The Sharks did send a schoolboy team to face the Lions. That's correct. Freya, okay. All right, that's news to me. That's news to me. That's not what YouTube told me when I inquired from them. They told me it was only people who are currently in the chat, so that's interesting. Have you heard about Pretoria giving the city of Iran? They're not giving anything. They offered to sell it to them. That's the city hall. I'm aware of that, and I've done content on that. Hey, Line in the Sand, how you doing there, man? It's been a while. From Namibia. Membership for a channel that was sub to, but not in the chat. Okay, all right, got it. You guys are telling me I'm a liar. Got it. I'm sorry. I'm just telling you what YouTube told me. That's all I can do is tell you what YouTube told me. Colonel, the NEC called Trump a tariff terrorist in the meantime. Where do you see that at, Darlene? Is that reported somewhere? I didn't see that. Did you see that? I would love to see that. I would love to see that. Thank you for your membership. All you guys getting the memberships now. Thank you for the gift of membership. Oh, geez, now we keep on more memberships. Thank you, guys. I got to turn that off for a few minutes. Light rain. Hey, Erica, what's going on? So, what? It's on the news. Guys, I just went through News 24, IOL, Business Tech, Times Live, Daily Maverick. There's no mention of anything about the NEC. What news, please? What news? Did you watch it on television? Did you hear it on the radio? What radio did you hear it on? What television? So telling me it's on the news is not helpful. Sorry, I don't mean to get excited, but gosh, it gets frustrating when people keep giving half answers or quarter answers and stuff here. Thank you, Darlene. SABC News on television. That's helpful. Now I know where to go look for it. Oh my goodness, guys. Come on. I don't read minds from 808 people, okay? You do have to turn on accept gift memberships. If that is not turned on, then you won't be running. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Levin. Didn't know that. That's new. That was never before. Newswire's article stating that hope is Ron Poe's making a phone call. Everyone needs to listen to what Colonel is saying. A person that's going to get frustrated to keep on repeating the same thing over and over again. What happened to Charlene Borger? Psycho Billy. What's going on, man? I don't see what happened to Charlene. I missed it. So, sorry I missed that. It's not showing up here in my chat. It's one of the vehicle manufacturers. Yep, that's one of the things I'm going to talk about. One of the lead stories to go with here. So let's get to the news, folks. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done already. We've got 428 likes. That's a good start. And it's time for the news now, folks. Hey, everyone. All right. Look. So I don't mean to be terse with anybody, but I've made this mention several times over the past week. When you're in the chat, please don't just give a half a sentence or respond to something. Understand that even in perfect circumstances, when there's no delay, you're not behind, you are 4 seconds behind me, best case. I say something, and 1, 2, 3, 4, now you hear it, best case. Then you type something. It takes time to type things, okay? And if you type an incomplete thought, by the time it shows up in the chat, even at perfect time, it's behind. And I've moved on to something else as fast as I talk, as many topics I cover. So please be explicit when you say things like, this would be a good one. I saw what he was talking about, the NEC calling Trump a tariff terrorist today on television on SABC News. That's helpful. Okay? All right? Anna joined Spotify. Cool. Thank you for that. Sent 2 emails on Friday to All About Africa. I know you'll get it when you get to it. Almost got scared. No, there's no wrong. People reaching out to me. Okay, people need to not be so sensitive. What I'm just telling you is if you send it to an email address that I've not told you to send it to, which would be all the other email addresses, you're not going to get a response. And if you're upset about not hearing from me, that's your own doing, because I've only told people to send it to one email address. I've never told people to send me anything to Instagram. I've never told people to send anything to me on LinkedIn, to send anything to me on X. But people send me messages, and I find them months later. Like I said, I found a bunch of messages from people in the refugee program back in March, just a few days ago, about 2 weeks ago, in my Outlook account. I only use Outlook to receive and to send PayPal. That's the only purpose I have that account, to keep that account alive. That's all I have it tied to. So unless you're sending me money through PayPal, there's no reason to send. There should be no communication through Outlook. And just why people picked and assume that, and then they're upset because I didn't respond. I got one person sent me 5 nasty grams. They sent me a message. How come you didn't respond? I sent this to you 2 weeks ago. I sent it. Hey, dude, no one told you to send that email. Listen to what you're being told. Listen to what you're being told. Yep. Sorry to hear you got more threats today, Andrew. That's unfortunate. Yeah, YouTube has got problems too. They've been having a lot of problems lately. Yep. Can you make a rock song when you make your next one? I've made rock songs. FitNut made several rock songs. It would help if it was possible to increase the minimum word count, chat. You got like 250 characters, so you can pretty much get it done there. Oh, you want to make a Marvel movie? What's that? Thank you, Darlene. Appreciate it. And thank you for your understanding. 2-minute delay, says Inc. Well, some people delay the video feed intentionally because they have a bad connection and they get missing frames. So if you pause it for like 30 seconds to a minute, then you don't miss things, but you fall behind. So anyway, right. There it is. And Hendo put the only valid email address up. Hendo, our moderator extraordinaire. Hendo, we have to talk about linking up when I get to England. Okay, let's send you a letter about the South African Postal. Yes, I know, Peter Anderson. There's no Postal Service. The CIA, they can make it more able. Yeah, you're right, Primal Boy. The CIA, I need better assistance. Hey, Goat. Good evening, Ave Burger. I can read minds, but you need to pay up front. It's not refundable. Erica gave us 70 Rand super chat. Thank you, Erica. Biki Blas on this Motsing, Benny Kanye, and Story Bring. Honest. Thinking 5-finger death punch style. Okay, Peter, welcome to you. All right, IBS says hello there. All right, U.S. tariffs have already cost one company. Now, I've talked about Berna, the U.S. ammunition manufacturer that had a factory in Pretoria that they shut down in March before Trump even announced the reciprocal tariffs, because the leadership of that company was forward thinking. That's what leaders do. They look at potential problems and they deal with it before they become a mess. So Berna, which was only producing 32% of the content that went into its non-lethal firearms last year, now produces 93% of the content in the United States, either themselves or subcontractors. It comes from U.S., including all their ammunition, which used to be produced in South Africa, in Pretoria. That factory is shut down. Those jobs are gone since March 13th. The end of AGOA, the tariffs have already hurt South Africans. The auto industry is already reeling from it. And now we hear news that 750 million Rand in contracts were lost from a company because of the uncertainty related to what's going on. City Press reports today that GendaMark Automation's 500 workers and 3,000 supplier employees are at risk. The business is operating in the dark regarding Pretoria's negotiations with Washington because there are no negotiations. That's hampering their decision-making. They can't commit to things when they don't know what's going to happen. An additional 10% tariff threatened by Trump for BRICS countries could break the camel's back. A single factory in Geberga, Eastern Cape, which builds highly sophisticated machinery and software for the automotive industry, has overnight lost contracts worth $750 million due to U.S. new import tariffs. That is because of the ANC's lies, subterfuge, dishonesty, and outright gaslighting of South Africans. Oh, we're engaged in robust negotiations. It's in the U.S.'s court now. We've given them our offer. We're waiting to hear back from them. No, you're not. That's just total nonsense. Just making it all up. Making it all up. Whistling past the cemetery. That's the ANC, whistling right on past the cemetery. That is the government of national unity, whistling right past the cemetery. Ooh, Darlene, thank you. You sent me a link. Now I can do a story on that. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Darlene, but that's a half story. That's a half story. Where did you send me a link? Email or WhatsApp? Come on, give me the whole story, Darlene. Don't hold back. You're just teasing. You're just teasing. Stop being a tease. Tell me where you sent it to. WhatsApp or email. Yes, 750 million rand already gone. Gone. A single factory. GendaMark Automation is one of the countless South African enterprises, businesses that export everything from high-level manufacturing to processed agricultural products like ostrich leather and raisins to America, whose products become 30% more expensive overnight. Additionally, they're in the dark about Pretoria's negotiations with Washington because there are no negotiations with Washington. They're just lying to you. The rand did lose value, Corey. It dropped. There is no currency trading over the weekend, so I don't know what you're talking about. It dropped. The rand dropped to 18.28 on Friday. As the tariffs were implemented Friday, the Department of Trade, Industry, and Competition began contacting enterprises. So they wait till the tariffs go into effect to start doing something. Oh, we have a plan now. We're going to help people. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's utter nonsense. About 15% of our business from the South African facility is local and 50% is exported to America. We are now suddenly 30% more expensive. This crushes our competitiveness. You're actually more than 30% because you also didn't have to pay the import duty that was there removed under AGOA. So they're well beyond 30% less competitive. Yep. That's the bottom line. Did Darlene answer? Come on, Darlene. Don't keep me in suspense. On the chat. Oh, on the chat. There's no link on the You're not a moderator. See, Darlene, you're not a moderator. You can't put a link in. Darlene, would you like to be a moderator so you can put the link in there? Answer, and I'll give you a temporary moderator status. Then we'll take it right back, so don't take offense. But you didn't put any link in there. There's no link in the chat because you're not a moderator. You have to be the content creator or moderator. Folks who are not familiar with YouTube, you cannot put links into, okay, what? Darlene, that's okay. All right, I am a dentist now. I've become a dentist. Come here, Darlene. Come here. Open up. Pulling teeth here. Okay, what? Okay, you understand that your link didn't appear. Okay, I can make you a moderator. Okay, never mind. I got it. Yes, what? You're just playing with me. This is a tease, man. This is like the hot girl in the corner going, hey, baby. And you come over. Yes, what do you want? You said, hey, baby. Well, yeah, and? Stop teasing me. Okay. So I'll make her a moderator. Do you guys see the frustration? Now I could be a typical dude and just make comments about women, which I'm not going to do. So add as a moderator. Okay, standard moderator. Okay, Darlene, you're temporarily a moderator. Don't apologize, Darlene. Just put the link in now. What the hell happened to Helen of Troy now? What's going on there? The rand strengthened 1805 after the job date was announced. Yeah, exactly. Yes, Siggy says use full sentences. Yeah. Darlene got spanner power. She's got... There it is. All right. Oh, that's YouTube. Okay. All right. Well, okay, cool. SABC News. Thank you for that. Right. Now I'm going to remove your spanner because you're dangerous, Darlene. Darlene takes remove. Okay. No, remove a standard moderator. Okay. There you go. All right. You're no longer standard moderator. Thank you. This is what we have to put up with in YouTube. That's not even YouTube. It's our own wonderful audience that frustrates us. Thank you, Darlene. Bye, dankie. Echt is gelukkig. All right, there you go. All right, thank you so much. Poor Darlene. Guys, so I mean, anyway, there we go. We got it. So I found it. Thank you for that. So that's actually would have been, still didn't give me the full story. You saw it on SABC News, which is helpful after we got that point. But that's why I said you see it on television. You didn't. You saw it on YouTube. So I can actually watch it. If it's on television, I can't watch it. Oh, Crypto Noob, the Griquas did win. They won 48-39. What a game. Whew. They gave up 4 unanswered tries at the end of the first half, which was just devastating. They came out and scored 3 unanswered tries to take it back. All right, so let's get back to the news now. Now that I've got that link, I'll check that out later on. Whew, baby. Man, that was like pulling teeth. I feel like a dentist. Thank you, Darlene. Don't go quiet. Nobody's picking on Darlene. Okay. All right. The uncertainty also creates problems because some clients might still be interested despite the tariffs of 30%, but it suddenly becomes 40 or 80 one day, depending on someone's mood. My clients cannot take that risk. Oh, stop being silly. This is the guy from the company. It's not going to be 80%, but it will be 40 or 50%. Yeah. That was tense. It wasn't tense. Novocaine helps. It does. Lidocaine works too. The African National Congress's NEC's meeting to discuss Trump's tariffs will not resolve Trump's beef with the party. Monyane. Political analysts have warned the ANC is unlikely to resolve its difference with the U.S. over the impending 30% tariff. Not impending, it's already there. As the party held its National Executive Committee meeting in Johannesburg this weekend, the tariff is expected to take effect at August 7th, as announced by the Trump administration. South Africa is the only country in sub-Saharan Africa to be singled out. Yes, with good reason. The ANC has worked against our interest, and we're not putting up. Darlene has gone quiet now. Darlene, don't leave. You haven't been blocked? Oh, there she is. Okay, all right, thank you. Oh, you verified. See, now that's a smart thinking viewer. You verified. Yep. On Saturday, ANC NEC member Dr. Kojisenso Ramakopa, the electric slide minister, told journalists that there had been a focused discussion on tariffs, describing it as spirited and robust. Where was this conversation on April 3rd, April 4th, May 3rd, June 3rd, July 3rd? Not until August 3rd? May, June, July. 4 months later. Yes, Darlene's getting a lot of attention tonight. Well, the good life. An Afrikaner refugee shares an update after U.S. move. Why is the South African still using quotes for a refugee? This is dishonest. Look, I'm not picking on Megan van der Heever, but Megan, that's dishonest. Your editors need to stop doing that. It's a legal status. The person came here as a refugee. The fact that your editors don't like that doesn't make it untrue. The sky is blue. You don't put that in quotes. South Africa is an independent republic. You don't put the South African Republic in quotes. You didn't put, it's enough of this nonsense. 6 months later, this bullshit from the media calling refugees in quotes needs to stop. There are real refugees. Get over yourselves, you losers. The Good Life. Afrikaner refugee shares update after U.S. move. IT businessman and leafy green farmer. Why does she put that in quotes? Earl Langton has shared an update about his life as an Afrikaner refugee in the U.S. But Meg was kind to me. She said something nice about me. Earl Langton, an Afrikaner refugee, and again in quotes, now living in the U.S., has shared an update about his life abroad. Almost 3 months ago, Langton was one of 49. It's 59, Megan. 59. How many times do I have to tell you that, Megan? 59. South Africans, they didn't apply for refugee resettlement. Oh, my goodness. In February. And they were, okay, look, Megan, thank you for running the story and thank you for saying nice things about me, but this is the problem. This is the role of an editor. An editor should be questioning things. Number one, it wasn't 3 months ago that he contacted about refugee settlement. He did it on February 10th or 12th. That's March, April, May, June, July, August. That's 6 months ago. Okay, 6 months ago. He's been in America for 3 months, but 6 months ago, he sent in an email. So that's the first problem. Second problem is it's 59, not 49. Okay? And Why do you put in quotes racial discrimination? That's not a made up term. That's not a question in debate. It's a real term. Oh my goodness. Speaking to U.S. Intel expert Chris Wyatt, Afrikaner refugee, see again, quotes again, shared an update about his life in the adoptive country. In a clip on social media, he detailed the joys and challenges of resettlement. Although his family members did not have Social Security numbers or driver's license, they were covered by Medicaid for the first year of their stay. Well, they do have that now. That was when they first arrived. He also revealed that they've been temporarily provided financial assistance. Well, that's ending now. Despite the backlash of being labeled an Afrikaner refugee, Langton revealed that he encountered helpful and friendly Americans. People are very accommodating. People want to help. They see the need. They don't treat you like a leper. The kids have a good life here. Of his frustrations, the reality is that we're resettling our entire lives, and that's a huge challenge. There are some frustrations, but I downplay them because I look at the positive. There you go. And there's our video right there. Some older pictures of Earl there. So, once again, the South African not quite getting it right. Thank you, Megan, for running the story, but it's not entirely correct. Appreciate that. It's for the 1,000th time, it's 59. I don't know why people have a hard time. It's not 49. You people got that wrong, and the hard-headed media, you know how to solve this? Send in a request to the U.S. Embassy, to the U.S. government. How many they're not even Afrikaners, how many South Africans arrived in the first flight of refugee resettlement? And the U.S. government will release the information. It was 59. It's not hard to do. Yet they continue to say 49. Ugh, it's driving me nuts. Nice. Drive me nuts. Quotation marks for free. That's why there's plenty of them. Very proud of 17-year-old son. Spent second day at West Coast Ostrich Ranch. Started at 8 a.m. Finished. Served 5 coaches today. Double decker and 7. Wow, that sounds like some good money there, Lana. I don't trust dentist or... well, I got my teeth worked on in South Africa. Yep. I have this tooth over here. It's still there because of a South African dentist. It fractured. It cracked. That molar bust when I was in Ethiopia in my dress uniform, my dress blues, and I'm eating bruschetta and pulling chunks of my tooth out. It was wild. Yeah, that was pretty creepy. Fortunately, there was no pain. Yeah, but then I had to go to South Africa, medevac, dental medevac. It took 4 months before I got it, had temporary fillings, and then they saved my tooth. Yep. I never put anything in quotes. It's Yep, all right. Why is the refugee in quotation marks? This is insulting. He is a refugee. That's what I'm saying, awkward. The media have to stop that. He's actually a refugee. His legal status is a refugee. It's as simple as that. And so does that mean all the refugees that are in America that come from Somalia and from Chad and from Myanmar and China, that they're not legitimate refugees, so we put that all in quotes too? Or is it because there are brown people that you don't put quotes around it? You only put quotes around it when they're white, which would make you a racist. I'm talking to the editor of the South African. Head of South African asylum case that was approved this week. You heard of. Very good news for us. Do you know about it? That's not good news. Where was the asylum? In Australia or the U.S.? You heard about an asylum case approved last... Okay, good for you. Do you know what the approval rate for South African refugee or asylum cases was in 2023? Do you know what that was, Wilhelmine? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea? Thank you, U.S. Do you have any idea what it was? 2023, what was the approval rate for South African asylum seekers in America? Anybody know? Anybody? Take a wild guess. It wasn't zero. There were people approved. But what's the rate? What's the rate? It wasn't zero. No, a good guess. It wasn't. Wasn't zero. 1%. Groenriz is spot on. Groenriz has been watching the program. 11%. Angelique as well. 11%. 11%. How is that good news? Wilhelmine, I'm not trying to be combative with you, but how is that good news? One freaking person got an asylum case approved. Now, if you start hearing about 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 get approved in a week, well, then something is broken. But one person got it. You've got hope from one person? Oh my gosh, we got hundreds of people come over here through the refugee program. It costs them nothing. Now that person's approved as a refugee. They can't work legally. They have to wait 5 months to apply to work. And then, unless they've been here for years and they're already in the process, then they're already run through that. So anyway, yeah, I don't know why people are stuck on asylum. It don't work. It don't work. 11%, that's actually pretty good. Less than 5% of the people apply for asylum are actually legitimate. Most people are frauds. Most pure frauds. And it's an adversarial process. Who's carrying this born, I see? I don't understand why people are coming in talking about having hope about asylum. It costs a fortune. You have to hire an attorney. It takes years. Your life is in limbo. Look at the people in Australia. They've been here since 2018. Now they're going to be deported. And never able to go back to Australia because their case was turned down. If you want to get out, take the gift that's offered to you. Put in a statement of interest to the U.S. Embassy. Piece of cake. Wait for your call. Explain your case. And then you too can wind up in miserable, hot Alabama. Oh, Villamine. Gotcha. Okay, see, I don't know that. You're here on the H-2A. But your H-2A visa is going to run out and you'll go back to South Africa and you can be processed as a refugee. Okay, thank you, Villamine. Didn't know that part. That's news to me. See, only partial information. Colonel's intelligence. Oh, stop it, Mad Max. You're going to get a timeout. Spoke to lawyers last week. They're expecting big improvements for all the numbers from October when the new financial year starts. So relax. A lot of freeloaders. Heartbroken, but yes, if you're a refugee, don't go back. Was just beginning to read your comment. Equity, then YouTube ditched me. Okay, I'm not sure what she's talking about there. Petra! Yeah, that's it. Refugees, that's the next broadcast. Save it for that. Gauteng Premier removes and reshuffles several heads of department. Panyazi Lesufi, this evil bastard. Gauteng Premier Panyazi Lesufi has removed and reshuffled several heads of department after damning reports revealed $1.8 billion in budget underspending, including missed service delivery performance. So they're not doing their damn jobs. We took serious exception that with the challenges we're facing of service delivery, we cannot afford departments that are missing performance targets. We also found that some audit outcomes, which indicated some departments are not performing ideally, within the context, I've taken the decision to reshuffle and reset heads. What do you mean reshuffle? Hey, Panyazi Lesufi, here's a better idea. How about you fire the incompetent turds that can't get the job done? There's an idea. They can't get the job done. Fire them. Stop with the ANZs shuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. You fire incompetent people. You sack them. You get rid of them. You find competent people. Oh, by the way, Panyazi, if they happen to be Indian, colored, or white, you can hire them. Did you know that? You can hire white people who know what they're doing, and brown people know what they're doing. Doesn't have to be a comrade. Oh, good Lord. Gauteng's urgent campaign to get your kids jabbed. Some of you are going to lose your minds when I talk about this. Gauteng's urgent campaign to vaccinate over 4 million children in one province against measles and rubella. The Gauteng Department of Health is ramping up efforts to combat the persistent measles outbreak in the province with the launch of a large-scale measles rubella vaccination campaign. It will officially launch on August 5th at Steve Biko Primary School in the Orange Farm. Aims to immunize over 4 million children who are aged 6 months to 15 years of age. Campaign comes as Gauteng continues to respond to a persistent measles outbreak that has affected all districts since 2022, with over 370 confirmed cases recorded since January. So, okay, the United States has had 122 cases of measles, and we're being told we have a pandemic. We have a pandemic outbreak in America, 122 cases, mostly illegal aliens who slid across the border. South Africa has 370 cases in a country 1/6 the size, and nobody's calling it a pandemic. Oh, I love the media. Now, I'm not saying 370 cases of pandemic. It's not. That's not even close. But neither is 122 cases in a country of 360 million people. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Oh, my goodness. That's too funny. Well, a second prosecutor has been gunned down in Eastern Cape. These political assassinations need to stop. Cops need to start doing something. Justice system. Havana prosecutor Tracy Brown was shot assassination style by 4 men outside her home. Her killing follows the killing of prosecutor Ilona Sambulula. Advocates for Transformation call for an urgent security reforms to protect prosecutors, judges, and advocates in public or private practice. Wow. Shows a clear pattern to interfere with the administration of justice by limiting those who have the potential to bring criminal suspects to justice. So another prosecutor, Tracy Brown, murdered. Enoch Gondwana has sent Johannesburg a nastygram. Yep. Finance Minister tells Joburg Mayor Dada Marrero to take action within 2 weeks to fix the city's financial chaos or face funding cuts. The letter came this week as some of the smaller parties in the ANC-led coalition running the city demanded that Tapelo Ahmad of Al Jamal, who served his disastrous 3-month term as mayor, be put in charge of the metro's purse strings. What? What morons asked for that? Is it going to tell us which parties? It doesn't say which parties. Oh my goodness. What moronic parties asked for that idiot to be in charge of finances? Oh my goodness. They want the most idiotic person to serve as a mayor from Al Jamaa, and not a real party, by the way. Just a bunch of bum-hurt Islamists. Not a real political party. Well, the Trump tariffs, a call from Ramaphosa may be the government's last hope. No, it's not, Dobby. Dobby Bunzar says the government officials' last hope to avoid U.S. President Trump's imports tariffs is that Ramaphosa make a personal call to his counterpart. However, plans were hastily forged last week to soften the blow for key sectors. Plans were made last week. No, they started talking about plans on Friday. That was 2 days ago. Not last week. Not last week. That was 2 days ago. That's when they first started talking about plans. There are no plans. This is just nonsense. Total nonsense. South Africa. Wow. That's right. You're going to get that eep. This number is not in service. Make the call. Make the call. Northgard, 200 Rand, thank you for everything you do, Colonel. Do you think the U.S. government will allow us to continue working for an SA company? Of course. Americans, I can work for a South African company. I can own South African business interests if I'm dumb enough to invest there. I can do that. I can buy property in South Africa if I'm stupid enough to take a chance that someone's going to steal my land. Yeah, I can do that. You can do that. There's no problem with you working for a South African company, unless the company becomes sanctioned. If there's sanctions coming under Ronnie Jackson's bill that's now on the floor of the House, which is in recess, then that's a little different story. But right now, yeah, you can work for a South African company. Yeah, that's not an issue at all. Not an issue at all. Now, you're not going to go back to South Africa for business. That ain't going to happen. So get that out of your head. If they need you to come for a meeting, ain't going to happen. There are exceptions for family emergencies, deaths, illness, that sort of thing. But every trip outside the United States must be approved by the federal government. You cannot leave the country as a refugee without their permission. Okay? Minister of Electricity Kojisenso Ramakopa says the current system of tariffs is unsustainable. Guess what? Ching! Get ready for higher tariffs for your electricity in South Africa, folks. Yes. He's conceded the price of electricity is not sustainable and has ordered a review of the electricity tariffs. Ahead of the ANC NEC meeting at various venues this weekend in Gauteng, he revealed that South Africa is on the brink of energy poverty as the current cost of electricity is unsustainable, adding that South Africans expect big changes to prices in coming months. Well, do you think maybe that has to do with the fact that about 40-50% of the people using electricity are freeloaders? They're not paying for it, and you're letting them have it for free? That's why it's not sustainable. The Border Management Authority is changing its stamps because of corruption at the border. Yeah, new stamps occur passports with fraudulent stamps. The Green Mamba passport. Actually, that's a Zimbabwe passport on the counter there. The Border Management Authority has introduced new stamps to curb widespread misuse of old stamps, which were fraudulently reproduced to stamp passports illegally. In an effort to crack down illegal entry into South Africa on August 1st, they launched new stamps replacing the old and vulnerable stamps used by immigration specialists. Okay, well, let's see what happens. I'm not really sure how you change the stamps and improve it, but I guess I'll find out on my next visit. Or maybe some of you leaving the country as refugees can tell me what your passport looks like with the new stamp. African liberation movements, the ANC's dreadful cousins. This is an op-ed in City Press. Sometime last year, this lowly newspaper man had cause to be in Dar es Salaam, the capital of Tanzania. For anyone who has romantic notions about the continent's heroic freedom struggles, Tanzania is a perfect place to feed that nostalgia. Like Zambia, it was home to many liberation movements that were battling colonial powers as well as oppressive regimes that replaced them in countries such as South Africa, Zimbabwe, and Namibia. Under founding President Nyerere, the country risked all and used its meager resources to ensure that every inch of Africa was liberated. He instilled in Tanzanians a sense of pride that they were making sacrifice on behalf of their brethren. The people embraced the project as their own. The spirit is still there. Last year, the Tanzanians, eager to engage in conversation about the role in the liberation of the continent, they spoke proudly of their founding father while acknowledging the myriad mistakes that he made, but were very circumspect when it came to talking about the current leadership of the country. The reason is simple. The leaders who followed Nyerere were grossly corrupt, and in order to hide their corruption, they became repressive. Well, so was Nyerere. Story of Tanzania today is so emblematic of many countries where democracy seemed to have a chance in the 1990s and early 2000s. When Tanzania transitioned from one-party socialist state that Nyerere had introduced shortly after independence, in his view, because this was the best way to ensure the political stability necessary for development, and he was wrong, there was a flourishing of a democratic culture. But things are bad. And so are the liberation movements, all corrupt, thieving, and racist in many respects. Well, once again, savagery on farms in South Africa. This time a visiting tourist couple in Franschhoek, in the ritzy Franschhoek region. They were attacked with pangas. 60-year-old man, 60-year-old woman attacked by balaclava-clad men at a Franschhoek farm. This stuff is so bad, folks. Murdering tourists is not a good idea. Murdering anybody's a bad idea, but murdering tourists is simply counterproductive. A lawyer going 222 kilometers per hour in his Mercedes. A lawyer and an auditor were among motorists arrested for excessive speeding this weekend on the N2 near Park Riney in KZN. It's part of a zero tolerance, no nonsense road safety campaign. Wow, 222 kilometers. How'd they catch him? In a blue Mercedes-Benz traveling from Umtata. From Umtata, in the middle of nowhere on those roads, double the legal limit of 120. Initially failed to stop when instructed, prompting officers to give chase before apprehending him. He was taken to the Scottsburg police station and released on 3,000 Rand. 3,000 Rand? He was going 240 kilometers, 220 kilometers an hour on that back-ass road in the countryside, and he gave a 3,000 Rand fine? Are you serious? Folks, that is $166. What a joke. That is reckless driving. That is endangerment of public safety. He should have been remanded for custody. That's ridiculous. Paarl boys pull out the upset, come back, and defeat the undefeated Paarl Gymnasium in Paarl for schoolboy rugby. What an epic finish this game was. This was the game of the weekend, which unfortunately I can't watch because I don't have the feeds from South Africa. Paarl High boys snatched the bragging rights of the town's famed and frenzied interschools derby when they beat fierce rivals Paarl Gymnasium 35-33 at a packed Fowey Stadium on Saturday. Congratulations to the Paarl boys who win that, and they ruined the perfect season for Gymnasium, who were going to run the table, but they didn't. Well, the Sharks will rise again. So says JP Peterson. I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh at JP. The former Springbok means well, but they've got obliterated at the hands of the Bulls, and Bulls could have made it worse. 64-0 was the final score. Sharks director of rugby John Plumtree has tasked Peterson with treating the Curry Cup as a development platform to unearth players capable of competing in the URC. While that broader vision holds merit, it doesn't make the weekly hammerings any easier to bear. Peterson has effectively been asked to take boys into battle against men, and it shows. The Sharks have conceded more than 100 points in 2 games, and the scale of the Bulls' demolition job was the heaviest defeat between the sides in the tournament's history. Wow. The bigger challenge is public perception. Sharks fans, largely unmoved by the long-term planning, only see the scoreboard, and their frustration is mounting. Yep. Sharks not looking pretty. Well, here's an op-ed. I'm going to read this op-ed to you guys, okay? And this one is from Peter Bruce, who I was supposed to meet, but couldn't quite schedule it when I was in Stanford. I was supposed to link up with him, but it didn't work out. So Peter Bruce, writing for the Sunday Times, it says, "We're stuck in mud of our own making. Better call the help desk." It's pretty good. So I had issue with a couple of op-eds that Peter Bruce wrote recently, attacking the U.S. I thought it was unfounded, but this one's pretty good. So let's go with this one. That we've not had a fully functioning embassy in Washington for years is entirely ANC's fault. Now we need experienced hands. We have nothing. The government was hard at work this week trying to convince us that though it accepted it would not escape the punishing 30% tariffs the U.S. imposed on imports from South Africa, intense negotiations have been underway to reach a deal. Only they weren't. They weren't. It's a lie. Busy. The Department of Trade, Industry, and Competition announced it had established a help desk where companies hit by tariffs could get advice on other export destinations. On Friday, President Cyril Ramaphosa said the whole process of dealing with countries on a trade basis requires that we should be multidimensional. We've been encouraging our companies to export their products to various markets. It's too risky to focus on just one market. The United States is not just one market. It's only 6% of your exports. My goodness. So your 20-ton shipment of frozen berries is halfway to Baltimore, but as they will now cost American consumers 30% more, you figure to send them somewhere else. You call the export help desk. and deeply experienced trade officials tells you that there just happens to be growing demand for berries in Malaysia. So here's a list of cell phone numbers Malaysian berry buyers are waiting for your call. And it doesn't ask what percentage your company is owned by black shareholders. Very cutting, Peter Bruce. Facetious, he knows, but the notion that U.S. President Donald Trump's tariffs are not a catastrophe for our economy is downright dangerous. So the notion is that, as Ramaphosa is suggesting, for us to grow our economy, we need to be much more vigorous and robust to seek out many, many markets. Duh. So we redirect our manufacturing, mineral, and agricultural exports to the U.S. overnight, with dozens of other countries, many of which have greater diversity of exports than us, also looking to do the same. We have almost no chance without paying a heavy price. We are stuck in mud of our own making. Trump first announced the tariffs 3 months ago. What did we do in the interim? It's actually 4 months ago. May, June, July, August. It was 4 months ago, Peter. Yep. Why is the help desk not established back then? That's what I've already asked. Or 20 years ago. The fact that we've taken our exports for granted while the ANC has been hard at work on transformation. The ensuing unemployment rate, he says 33, it's closer to 40%, of our fellow citizens testimony to the ANC's utter inability to run a complex economy. South Africa is one of the biggest diplomatic corps in the world. Only a handful of countries have more embassies abroad than we do. But in none of them is there a diplomat specializing in trade and busy digging out export opportunities. Yeah, you don't have really good trade delegations. As a percentage of GDP, South Africa's exports have grown handsomely since 1994, when they were roughly 20% of the GDP. But that's because the sanctions were relieved, and that's why they grew. That ratio is nearly 32% last year, but the rise hides a deeper truth. The democracy dividend helped immensely, correct, as has the falling value of the rand, from 4 or 5 to 1 to 19 to 1, which makes our exports cheaper to buy. But apart from the remarkable rise in agricultural exports, the profile of what foreigners buy from us has not changed dramatically in the past 30 years. They buy our minerals, but despite all the big talk, the ANC has been unable to do anything about adding value to what we mine. In the past 10 years, 34 of our 59 ferrochrome furnaces have been closed. And yet we have the world's biggest reserves of ferrochrome, the basis of all stainless and corrosion-resistant steels. But no one in the ANC complained about the high electricity prices that drove the furnaces out of business. Now we send our ferrochrome ore raw to be processed in Asia. The ANC is not to blame for Trump. He is an unalloyed threat to peace and stability in the world. Oh, sorry, Peter. He's not. See, this is, okay, look, I'm not going to be disrespectful to Peter, but that's just horseshit. Horseshit. A threat to peace and stability. You know, this just flies in the face of, this is the problem with people on the political left. They're blind. What wars has Trump started? He bombed Iran. That's it. Oh, and he did end the war that was already underway against ISIS in 4 months. Barack Obama let it drag on for years. Millions of people dead. He ended the war in Afghanistan. He ended the war in Iraq. He ended the war in Syria for the U.S. He prevented North Korea from launching nuclear weapons. He didn't start the war. In fact, nobody was invaded as a neighbor of Russia during his term. But during Bush, Obama, and Biden, Russia invaded its neighbors. All three regimes. I'm sorry, Peter Bruce. If you're listening, that's just cognitive dissonance. A threat to peace. That's horse manure. A threat to peace. Whether you like Trump or not, he's the guy that ends wars. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm sorry, Pablo Charlie. The horse shit, the little hate wankers in Mozambique who claim to be ISIS, the little clowns in the Sahel claim, they're not ISIS. ISIS was destroyed in 4 months. Destroyed. The caliphate was wiped out in 4 months by Trump. Check your facts. Check your facts. You can laugh all you want. You can laugh all you want, but you're wrong. But they should have seen him coming, and that we have not had a fully functioning embassy in Washington for 7 years is entirely ANC's fault. Now, when we need experienced hands there, we have nothing. Instead, much of the intense negotiating on trade that Ramaphosa is talking about on Friday isn't with the Americans so much as with possible alternatives. No, it's with the media. That's where the talking is at. But trade's really hard. We have senior people talking to governments in the Middle East, the Emirates, and Qatar among them about deals. What the contents might be is unknowable, but spectacularly rich autocrats and royalty would be the target here. They don't make anything we use, so in return for them picking up some of the slack from the U.S. for consumption, we have two things to offer: land to relax on in private and mineral rights to exploit or trade. All trade is a barter of sorts, give and take. Whatever we do to replace U.S. trade, what we give in return is going to be important. My guess is it won't be pretty, and we won't know till it's done. 100%. 100%. 100%. China's copper rush. Well, yeah, pouring into Africa. Neocolonialism. It's right there, the Chinese communists, and they all looking the other way. The U.S. is moving fast to secure access to critical minerals as China tries to exert control over global supplies. China is spending billions of dollars to buy copper and rights to mine and process the metal, one of the world's most important critical minerals, especially in Africa where it has a strong presence. Beijing's making these moves, according to mining experts, as part of its preparation for more direct competition for Africa's minerals from the United States. President Trump's latest action, a 50% tariff on copper imports set to become effective August 1st, is aimed at boosting domestic mining and smelting. China dominates the critical minerals market, in Africa, where they've got unfair deals. Mass abduction in Nigeria, where armed bandits kidnap. Why did they put bandits in quotes? That's from AFP. Gunmen kidnapped more than 50 people in northwest Nigeria in a mass abduction, according to private conflict monitoring report created for the United Nations. Armed bandits targeted the village of Sabon Garin Damri in Zamfara State on Friday. The latest attack in the region where residents in rural hinterlands have long suffered from gangs who kidnap for ransom, loot villages, and demand taxes. It's the first mass capture this year. Beijing is paying influencers in Africa to spread misinformation about the U.S. Beijing and Moscow are financing social media campaigns against the United States, according to media experts and insiders. Chinese and Russian agents are paying social media influencers in Africa to spread anti-U.S. messages worldwide, with the Trump administration being a top target. Their research reveals that many influencers who use TikTok platforms are earning hundreds of thousands of dollars per month by disseminating misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda that benefits Beijing and Moscow. Analysts say China, Russia, and other malign actors take advantage of an information void created by the White House decision to cut financial aid to Africa, which helped impact the funding of media previously supported by the U.S. government. Well, that's nonsense. The U.S. government is not paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to any media outlet, let alone a social media influencer, before the cut. The aid has nothing to do with that. Very little of it is spent on media. Most of it is spent on food and health. Let's see, this is just nonsense. OPEC has decided to increase its oil output. They agreed to raise oil production by 547,000 barrels per day in September. It's the latest in a series of hikes to regain market share as concerns mount over potential supply disruptions linked to Russia. So reversal for OPEC, who have been traditionally cutting production. Oil price remained elevated even as OPEC has raised output, with Brent crude closing near $70 a barrel on Friday, down from $160 under Biden, but hey, never mind that. The G20 pledges to reduce the gender gap in workforce participation by 25%. G20 member states have reaffirmed their commitment to reducing the gender gap in labor force participation by 25%. Yes, okay. So, speaking at the closing session of South Africa's Deputy Minister for Employment and Labor, Judith Nemanzinga Shabalala, said the renewed goals seeks not only numerical parity, but also addresses equality in conditions of women's employment. Okay. All right. The new Brisbane eThekwini goal deepens the G20's resolve to close the gender gap. Do you know why there's a gender gap, folks? Women have babies. Men don't have babies. Many women leave the labor force to have these babies. They fall behind their peers in experience and contributions to the organizations they work for. And therefore, they're less valuable when they return until they catch up. Stupid people should wear signs. Well, folks, Nepal, 76% of all motor vehicles are now electric. Well, imagine what their landfills are going to look like as these cars fall apart. Subsidies, hydroelectricity, and a manufacturing powerhouse neighbor are moving the cars into Nepal faster than almost anywhere else. Yes, the Chinese overtaken Indian cars. The narrow streets of Kathmandu's size for pedestrian and rickshaws are choked with engines, buses, motorbikes, small trucks, and taxis filling the sprawling valley with horns and exhaust. For its more than 3 million residents, just getting around is a dangerous, eye-stinging ordeal. But recently, a new kind of motor has started to ease their crush. Sleek electric vehicles glide by with a quiet hum, gleaming showrooms do a brisk business, and latest models and charging stations on the highways have turned into rest stops with cafes for drivers to pass the time while you wait for it to refuel for hours. The transition is moving quickly. Over the past year, electric vehicles accounted for 76% of all passenger vehicles and half of the light commercial vehicles sold in Nepal. 5 years ago, that was basically zero. The electric vehicle market share in Nepal is now only behind those of a few countries, including Norway, Singapore, and Ethiopia. The average for all countries was 20% in 2024. Swift turnover is a result of government policies aimed at leveraging Nepal's wealth of hydropower, easing dependence on imported fossil fuels, and clearing the smog. It's been fed by intense push from Nepal's biggest neighbor, China. For us, using electric vehicles is a comparative advantage. It's good for us. In the global market, Chinese EVs are expanding. The same is happening in Nepal. Now, I won't argue in the case of Nepal where smog gets trapped in the high mountain valleys. Yeah, it doesn't get cleared out, and they've got lots of electricity. But wait till they start filling up their landfills with these broken-ass cars that Chinese are making, and they poison their water supplies and the water table. That's coming. But hey, there's a trade-off for everything. The effort stands in contrast to policies in the U.S. and Europe, which have blocked Chinese EVs to protect their domestic auto industries. Well, we don't want crap in our countries that wind up in landfills. That's why. So there you go. Well, there's charging going on right there. From Indian gasoline to Chinese cars, many countries are trying to electrify their fleet, but the case for doing so is even more obvious in Nepal, with its clean energy embodying the rivers that run down from the Himalayas. Yep. Nepal's primary source of revenue is taxes on imports. To make EVs cheaper, the government set its customs and excise taxes at cars at a combined maximum of 40% compared to 180% for gas-powered cars. So the reason people are buying EVs is not because they want them. It's because they have to pay 180% tax on every car they buy. So a $10,000 car costs $20,000. But the EV is only 40%, so it's $14,000. It's half the price. No wonder they're buying. And here's one of those shitty Chinese brands right there, BYD. There you go. Garbage. It's a win-win. Well, for Nepal perhaps, but here is the China's neighbors are adopting electric vehicles. Hong Kong, 90%. Singapore, 85%. Nepal, 73%. Thailand, over 60%. Pakistan trails less than 10%. Electric vehicles. Well, South Korea's former president who was jailed, I think illegitimately, he followed the law and the Constitution when he sought to impose martial law. He rescinded it when he was outvoted. He's been imprisoned again, and he's refusing to cooperate. Good for him. South Korea's jailed ex-leader Yoon resists questioning by taking off his prison uniform. South Korea's jailed ex-president Yoon Suk-yeol again refused to attend questioning by investigators using a new method. He took off his prison uniform and laid down on his floor in his detention room. He was removed from office in April over his ill-fated imposition of martial law, was sent back to prison last month as he stands a high-stakes trial over rebellion and other charges. His December 3rd martial law decree is why they targeted him. But according to the law, he didn't break any laws. So this is just malicious. A new tsunami alert. A warning from Russia over the Kuril Islands quake. Russian emergency officials have warned that a small tsunami waves could hit 3 districts of the Kamchatka Peninsula, but this should be over by now. Russian officials warned that a tsunami wave up to 19 centimeters could affect a section of the Kamchatka coast following a strong tremor Sunday morning. As a result of an earthquake that occurred in the Pacific Ocean, a tsunami wave no more than 19 centimeters may reach the Aleutian Municipal District, no more than 15 centimeters may reach Kamchatsky Municipal District, and no more than 3 centimeters may reach the Petropavlovsk Kamchatsky District. U.S. Geological Survey said the earthquake was magnitude 7.0, while the German Research Center for Geosciences claimed it was just 6.8. Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters? Germany announces the transfer of Patriots to Ukraine. Ukraine is set to receive 2 Patriot air defense systems under new NATO arms transfer, according to German Minister of Defense Boris Pistorius. No relation to Oscar. We're all scapegoats. The rise of anti-migrant fever in Poland. Far-right activists blame a flood of illegal immigrants for crime, but foreign-born population of Poland is small, so they don't want people there. It started with a violent crime in June in the center of Torun, central North Poland. A Venezuelan man stabbed a 24-year-old Claudia, a Polish woman, to death as she was walking home from work through a park. That led to a silent march of thousands of protesters through Torun on the 6th of July. Local media reported the march had been organized by supporters of the far-right Confederation Political Alliance, and people carried signs saying, "Stop illegal immigration." So what's the problem with that? So they peacefully, quietly marched because a Polish woman at 24 years old was stabbed to death by... What the hell are Venezuelans doing in Poland? What are they doing there? It's bad enough they're here. Why are they there? Poland is not a place you need to be going if you're from Venezuela. Anyway, so they go on and on about the right wing. They're upset about the right wing. But they're not upset about the Polish woman being stabbed to death in her own country by a criminal alien invader. Trump slap in the face. Well, Switzerland is not happy. They got a 39% tariff. That sucks. When Nicola Terramonti looked at his phone Friday morning, his first reaction was disbelief. Overnight, President Trump had slapped Switzerland with close to the highest tariffs of any country in the world. He's the chief executive of a precision toolmaking business in the mountain town of Mezzovico He planned in the near future to expand further in the U.S. by opening an office in Indiana. His company, Technoprints, counts in the American market for as much as 20% of demand for its components. I checked my phone twice. I thought it was fake news. This is a catastrophic scenario. In a land famed for its neutrality and order, Swiss reacted with shock and confusion at Trump's 39% tariff, higher than all but 3 nations in last week's executive order. Switzerland is one of the few nations whose August 1st tariff rate was higher than Trump's liberation rate. The move upended months of negotiations in which Swiss officials believed they were on the verge of securing a favorable deal. Switzerland is not a threat to U.S. national security, says Jan Attislander, member of the executive board of Swiss business organization Economie Suisse. Our chocolate and watches don't endanger U.S. manufacturing. The levy on Switzerland could still change before August 7th. U.S. imports from Switzerland in the last 12 months, $120 billion. They surged this year. Why did they surge? Probably because of gold and metals. That really jumped. A lot of people importing gold from Switzerland. Storm Flores is set to hit northern United Kingdom. Wind gusts of 80 miles per hour are possible on Monday, especially in Scotland, as officials warn residents to stay inside. From the Midlands north, going to be hit hard. An intense summer storm is expected to sweep across northern Britain on Monday, bringing potentially life-threatening winds and waves. Forecasters said the unseasonably disruptive system known as Storm Flores could most likely bring heavy rainfall and wind gusts that could exceed 80 miles per hour. Careful there, folks. If you're in the Midlands or further points north in the United Kingdom, you don't want to fall prey to that. Canadian wildfire polluting American skies again. Yes. Blazes across several Canadian provinces. Territories pose health risks to Canadians and their southern neighbors, us. Smoke from wildfires burning in Canada has triggered air quality alerts over the border in the U.S. Several blazes continue to rage across Canada on Saturday, sending smoke wafting over several states in the U.S. in the Midwest and bringing warnings of unhealthy air for at least the third day. Air quality alerts were in effect in the United States in Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan, as well as eastern Nebraska. So Canada polluting our skies again. Well, the Trump administration has canceled $26 million of funding for the Baltimore, D.C. maglev fantasy project. It has nothing to show for it, despite almost a decade of planning. The Federal Railroad Administration will cancel 2 grants worth more than $26 million for the Baltimore-Washington superconducting magnetic levitation project, citing significant project delays and high costs to the Department of Transportation. The project proposed setting up a high-speed rail system based on superconducting magnetic levitation technology between Baltimore and Washington at an estimated cost of $20 billion. But nothing has gone on. You would be able to make the trip from Baltimore to Washington in just 15 minutes. It takes an hour to travel between the two. But nothing is being done. They're just eating the money. Well, Trump's tariffs are making money, which means it's going to be hard to get rid of them. But it's not really a lot of money, folks. The New York Times says the tariffs are a substantial new source of revenue for the federal government, but it's not much. So here you go. So in July, they made $29 billion. So let's say they make $30 billion per month in tariffs, as opposed to the $10 billion. So they're making 3 times as much money in tariffs now than what they were making before Trump became president. So let's pretend that we make $30 billion a month in tariff revenue. That's $360 billion a year. $360 billion a year in a $28 trillion economy is nothing. Nothing. In a $7.4 trillion federal budget, it barely gets you below $7 trillion. It's a joke. Oh, we're making money hand over fist. But we're not. Well, the Senate has finally recessed for the summer. Well, they last night said they were going to keep going, but they lied. Senate breaks for summer after failed negotiations. Senator Thune had floated the option of recess appointments, but that would have required a recess of at least 10 days and majority consent. Senate has adjourned for the summer by Majority Leader John Thune on Saturday after Republicans and Democrats failed to reach an agreement to allow quick confirmation of dozens of employees, which means South Africa will not get an ambassador. It will continue. Senate agreed by unanimous consent on Saturday to Thune's request for a recess with pro forma sessions every 3 days during the time off. Well, the Senate is out of session. So, the federal government is launching a probe into Jack Smith, the former special counsel. Federal officials have launched an investigation. Jack Smith, the former special counsel who was investigating Trump. The U.S. Office of Special Counsel, an independent federal agency, is heading the investigation against Mr. Smith over alleged violations of the Hatch Act, a federal law that bans certain public officials from engaging in political activity. The investigation was first reported by the New York Post on Friday. Smith was named special counsel by then Attorney General Merrick Garland illegally, and he resigned shortly before Trump was inaugurated. Jack Smith's legal actions were nothing more than a tool for the Biden and Harris campaign, according to Senator Tom Cotton. This isn't just unethical, it's very likely illegal campaign activity from the public office. Yep. Special counsel Jack Smith pushed for an out-of-the-ordinary rush trial for President Trump with jury selection to begin 2 weeks before the Iowa caucuses. No other case this magnitude and complexity would have come to trial this quickly. These are actions that are not standard, necessary, or justified. They were the actions of a political actor masquerading as a public official. Yep. ChatGPT removes search engines with people's conversations. OpenAI's artificial intelligence program ChatGPT no longer allows users to make their conversations with AI discoverable by search engines. Previously, they let users choose whether to make their back and forth queries public, and these public queries were then indexed by search engines, but no longer. Now they're going to hide that. They found out it was a dangerous idea. Sandra Grimes unmasked Aldrich Ames, the worst spy in the CIA's history. She became suspicious when she discovered large deposits in the bank account of Aldrich Ames, whose betrayal cost the lives of at least 8 double agents. She's dead at 79. Unmasking the deadliest traitor in CIA history was not a matter for decrypting codes, staking out dead drop sites, or any other piece of spycraft from a John le Carre novel. Aldrich Ames, the CIA mole whose betrayal led to the execution of at least 8 Russian double agents who spied for the U.S., a devastating setback for American intelligence, was discovered from bookkeeping entries. He was identified by a counterintelligence analyst, Sandra Grimes, who was once in charge of CIA secretaries and clerks. In 1992, merging data from 2 spreadsheets, Ms. Grimes noticed that Mr. Ames had made bank deposits of up to $9,000 on 3 separate occasions after lunch with Soviet embassy officials in Washington. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell what's going on here. Rick is a goddamn Russian spy, is what she said. Sorry for the language. Mr. Ames was arrested in 1994, pled guilty to selling CIA's family jewels for millions of dollars in Moscow, and is serving a life term in prison. So he's alive, and she's dead. She'd been planning to retire in 1991 when she was asked to stay on for one more assignment, helping to solve the nearly forgotten puzzle of why the agency's Soviet informants suddenly went silent 6 years earlier. Died at her home in Great Falls on July 25th at the age of 79. Complications of Alzheimer's, according to her daughter. She's part of a small team at CIA that created to investigate the disappearance of its Soviet bloc assets who, beginning in 1985, were arrested, interrogated, and executed for treason. Their loss wiped out a network of informants that the agency had long cultivated, and during the fraught years of the Cold War, dimmed America's policymakers' insights into Moscow's thinking. Long before the CIA accepted that it had an internal leaker, Miss Grimes, who had once carpooled with Mr. Ames, was convinced that he was the mole. For her, the hunt was personal. She had spent her early years at the agency transcribing in index cards the reports of a Russian military intelligence officer, Dmitry Polikov, one of the sources betrayed by Mr. Ames, and who was subsequently murdered. She dedicated Circle of Treason, her 2012 account of the Ames case, written with a fellow mole hunter, Jeanette Fertrofuli, to General Polikov, who was executed in 1988. Ames became the CIA's counterintelligence chief for Soviet operations in 1983 with knowledge of every Soviet double agent worldwide. Newly married and under financial strain, he sold them all out for $2.7 million. The internal investigation of the devastating losses began in late 1986 by a 4-person task force, was soon mired in bureaucracy and dragged on for years. Agency was unsure if it was looking for a mole or if the Soviets had planted a bug or hacked its communications network. In 1989, one of the investigators, Diana Warthen, who had known Mr. Ames when both were stationed in Mexico City, pointed out that he's suddenly wealthy. He paid $540,000 in cash that year for a house in Northern Virginia and drove a new Jaguar on a salary of $70,000 a year. But Miss Wortham's tip was largely ignored. Only after Miss Grimes in 1992 correlated his large bank deposits with his boozy lunch meeting did they notice this. Yep. So, dead at age 79. Well done, Miss Grimes. Well, the backlash at the Sydney Sweeney thing continues, folks. This is a very misleading headline. The White House is not angry at Sydney Sweeney, but you'd think that Sydney Sweeney in braless Canadian tuxedo faces backlash from the White House. No. The White House is upset with the stupid stuff coming from people. Actress Sydney Sweeney was going viral long before her American Eagle campaign started drawing controversy. The Euphoria star has faced criticism for her good genes ad, as some have interpreted the good genes play on words to represent of eugenics and white supremacy. In several different ads, White Lotus actress can be seen posing in a Canadian tuxedo, which consists of a denim jacket over denim jeans. However, the ads make it very clear that she's not wearing anything underneath the denim jacket. Nice. In late July, White House Communications Director Stephen Chung took to social media to address the response to the American Eagle ad, calling it cancel culture run amok. This warped, moronic, and dense liberal thinking is a big reason why America voted the way it did in 2024. They're tired of this bullshit. Yep. So Jack Mack says, sex workers equal heroes. Sydney Sweeney is doing an ad, disgusting, focused too much on her body, sexualize herself too much. Now, why is that? Oh, shut up. What are you, some soy boy, Jack Mack? Barstool? The ad has become a hot topic. Does Sydney Sweeney do anything else besides sexualize herself? What's your problem? What are you guys? Are you gay? You don't like sexy women? There's nothing wrong with being gay. You want to be gay. But let a woman be a woman. Oh, these people are so sick of themselves. Barstool Sports Jack Mack reposted the screenshot with the caption, sex workers equals heroes. This guy's a loser, man. Someone posted this, Sydney Sweeney, please, I have a weak heart. Oh my goodness. Conservative TV personality Megyn Kelly also weighed in on the debate over the ad, calling the reaction absurd and blaming the lunatics on the left for prompting the controversy. She's being called a white supremacist by people who don't like her latest ad. She's advertising jeans, and yet the lunatics on the left think she's advertising white supremacy. This is obviously a reference to her body and not to her skin color, but the lunatic left is going to do what the lunatic left is going to do. Yep. They're upset because it's about who gets to be the face of America's best genes, she continued. They think it's no accident they've chosen a white, thin woman because you're, I guess, not allowed to celebrate those things in any way, shape, or form, but they're completely ignoring the reference to her body, which is the thing she's famous for. It's just absurd. Yep. So Bill Moon, whoever this loser is, says this is problematic. Sydney Sweeney's jeans adverts and photos shouldn't be celebrated, and we shouldn't be cheering her on. This is harmful to women and young girls who now have the unreal expectation forced upon them that it's okay to wear double denim and not be laughed at. What the hell is wrong with you, Bill Moon? The jeans have achieved their intent. I'm headed to the mall this afternoon to American Eagle Outfitters to see if they have any jeans I can fit into. That's the purpose, to sell jeans. I haven't bought jeans in probably 15 or 20 years. But now I want to go buy a pair of jeans. Why? Because they look cool. They look cool on her because she's got great jeans. She's also got great jeans. Stupid people, man. A bunch of racists. They're a bunch of racists is what they are. 721 people currently here, but just 778 likes. There were 1,000 here. Hit the like button, folks. Oh, that's actually for super chats. We didn't get a super chat. This is for likes.
That was easy.
Yeah, if I can get a pair, they're going to sell out. And that's the whole point. It's a brilliant ad campaign. Just like Nothing Comes Between Me and My Calvin Kleins by Brooke Shields. There was nothing wrong with that advert. Mobo bought American Eagle jeans. Well, I have American Eagle jeans, but they don't fit anymore because I got chubby. Because I can't walk properly. I think we should ask people in Wyatt Army groups not to post live now to other channels. Why? Why? 400 million jeans in 1 week? I didn't know that, Arctic. That's incredible. Pierre Enslin just gave a super chat. Thank you so much for that. Turn the alert box back on. 35 Rand. 16 wives going to have to share the pair. I would much rather see models modeling clothes than trying to play actor and actress. I just like to see ads with people who are attractive instead of people who are, got issues. I mean, we want to see beautiful things in life. I like to see beautiful mountains, not landfills. I like to see attractive women and men in ads. And I like to see it representative of what society is. This country is 3 out of 4 people are white. I'd like to see 3 out of 4 people in the ads white, just to reflect reality. Not no white men at all, 0 out of 10. I only wear jeans my whole life, but it doesn't make me look so good, says Hank. Sorry to hear that, Hank. Getting fatter, it's simple calories versus calories out. No, Napoleon, it isn't. It isn't. The calories out came from exercise and an active lifestyle. I didn't adjust my intake, and my intake stayed consistent, but my calorie burning, which was more, dropped down here, so now you get bigger. Yes, you're right. You lose weight not from exercise, but from your diet. But my diet didn't adjust. My hunger didn't adjust. It didn't go down. My need for feed didn't go down. But my body is expecting a certain amount of calories. And I didn't adjust in time. And so I picked up some weight. I'm not obese, but I'm not skinny like I've always been. So, yeah, anyway. Exactly. If you don't appreciate attractive bodies, there's something wrong with people. These people are sick. Yes, that's agree. I also like to look at beautiful things. So glad American Eagle shows us some normal, beautiful women. Yep. No, Napoleon, you adjust your food intake. The need for feed. Did you like that, Ibrahim? Did you see how Jaguar sales dropped? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, I actively don't buy the crap that's on TV that runs ads, that excludes white people, that excludes heterosexuals, that excludes white men. If I don't buy their stuff. I just don't buy it. Don't buy it because it's racist, it's misandric, and I'm not going to buy it. Simple as that. Yeah, Walter, tariffs, markets will adjust within reason. People with liver issues also have weight issues. Their metabolism won't work, so calories in. Well, that's not been a problem for me, expat Jack. I've always been able to control it. Never put on weight until a few years ago. I was planning on buying a so we need to feed. Hey, there you go, Ibrahim. You get it. Sorry to see you buffering, Corey. You get ladies that wear jeans, and then you get jeans that wear women. Aha. Well, Tom, there you go. And wear men, too. Obese people don't look good in tight jeans. That's true. Based on the ads, I thought America was 90% fat black women. Say, Wild Mountain. See, there you go. There you go. There you go. Ozempic. Yeah. Sky Rizzy. All the people in there are black. But only 12% of the population is black. And somebody will say, well, that's because of the market you're in. No, it's not. It's not. My streaming ads shouldn't be based on that. Not like our women in the police force or in the military. All right. Avi says, tomorrow morning, wife and Charlene Berger and kids will be going to get our passports. Well, congratulations, Avi. Congratulations. Ladies, we love you all, says Andrew. I don't know if you can get a pair. Okay, they're selling like, I need a denim suit, says Darlene. He's saying the left says sex workers are heroes, but they're attacking Sydney Sweeney. Exactly. Or is he calling her a sex worker? I don't know, Napoleon Dynamite. Andrew Kerr says her body is supreme. Oh, it's nice. It's very nice. Let us brag with our assets. Aha, Darlene. Ooh, yes. Do people remember the ESCOM tender contract for brooms? No, I don't remember that contract. Jack Mack is defending her against the left mob. Oh, he is? Well, I'm confused. That's not what it says. Okay, maybe I got it wrong, Napoleon. Then I apologize to Jack Mack. I misunderstood his post. That was cryptic to me. All right, thank you for clarifying that, Napoleon Dynamite. I'm glad I came back to that chat. That's not how I read it. I'm the clown. I got it wrong. Arctic says she has great boobs, natural talent, power to her. Thank you for setting me straight, Napoleon Dynamite. Love Sydney Sweeney jeans. How can I get into them? Liz, I don't know. If I get refugee status to the U.S., can I take my neurosis with me? Yes, you can take your neurosis with you. Philip says, I'm so glad to see a woman in an ad without a beard. Yes, I agree. Freaky Fundameva says, I don't get it. We hear about all this, but where are the arrests? We hear about Obama has huge evidence against him. Where is his perp walk? It's all a show. Of course it's a show, Freaky, and it's been a show all along. Would you expect anything else? U.S. DOD has canceled exercise, shared a court, a joint exercise with sent. Oh, I didn't know that. Wow, thank you for that. Thank you for that. I'll look into it. You should give that maglev contract to Elon Musk. Yeah, it'll be done on time and under budget. And they'll probably give you a free launch to Mars, and it, as a bonus. Fires are happening now on a regular basis. Are you reporting? Yep, I did, Tom. I've reported this Canadian wildfires every year. It's a question how big they get. But last year, that crap came here. That crap came all the way from the plains provinces of Canada all the way across to Pennsylvania. I walked outside and I couldn't breathe. I had to get an inhaler. It was like this crap. And it was for days. It was horrible. Yep. ANC think they can wait out Trump's term. Yeah, well, that's a long wait. We got 3.5 years before Trump's term ends. These guys are idiots. Swiss buy raw and value added to gold. That's true, Lana. But why are we buying it from Switzerland? I can buy Canadian Maple Leafs. I can buy South African Krugerrands. I can buy U.S. Eagles. Why would I buy from Switzerland? Excellent disaster area network site. Don't know anything about that. I think they issued the tsunami warning as well. Still unsure how much the seafloor shifted. Smart move. Tsunami that hit Thailand and some other places. 2094, I think you got that wrong. Yeah, it was devastating. Sometime or another, Raposa is going to jail. Well, we're going to fail, excuse me. Bitter Andrew gave a 20 Rand super chat, which I missed. When I hear tsunami, I think of the one that hit Thailand. Yeah, I got you. All right, folks, we've got the Refugee chat coming up at the top of the next hour. So let me just take a look and make sure we're set up for that. Yep, you're going to be directing that automatically. So I'm going to take a break here and check on a few things and maybe record a video, which probably won't be ready by that time. But we'll do the Refugee chat. If you've got Refugee questions, tune in at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 o'clock in South Africa. Okay. Hey, NW, how's it going, man? Yep. Okay, I can't remember. All right, so we're going to wrap it up here, okay? And we'll see you guys shortly. All right? Appreciate you being here. Take care of yourselves and be safe out there. Lots going on. All right, guys. Bye-bye. See you shortly.